Alright, so welcome back. So for this one, the next animal is going to be the prepared grizzled tree kangaroos. Now, in terms of favorites, even though I picked these as my second favorite, I like this one as much as the desert monitors. So the only reason why I picked the desert monitors over this one here is because, obviously, desert monitors are lizards. And I just happen to like reptiles more than tree kangaroos. So that's why this one is number 2, but it's awesome. It's just as cool as the first one. So let's explain how these guys work and the stuff that they have for sale at the market. The clever guardian is first. So this is a technique with a plus on it, so you can use another action afterwards. Store one card from your hand. At the start of your next turn, place the stored card into your hand. So I should explain how store works. Store is new. You don't have store in the other expansions. Of course, I don't know how all the cards work in the collection version. So if there is a card that allows you to store cards in Dell of Merchants, the collection, then yes, this would not be the first one. But this is the first one I have. This is the first one that has this ability called store. So storing means you're not putting it into your discard pile. Storing means you're not throwing it away, meaning you're trashing it. Storing means you're not putting it back onto your deck. Storing means you're not putting it into your discard pile either. Discard pile, hand, deck, and throwing away, those are the normal things, obviously. But you're not doing any of those things with store. With store, you're just setting it aside. You're setting it aside. It's not going to be in your hand. It's not going to be in your deck. It's not going to be in your discard pile. It's not going to be put in the trash. It's not going to be put in the discard pile for the market deck either. So it's not going to go there. It's just going to be stored and set aside for later. And then, of course, you're going to get it back when you're supposed to. So you're going to store one card from your hand, and at the start of your next turn, you get to place that stored card into your hand, which is awesome because you're discarding one card from your hand, okay? And then you're going to have less cards in your hand, which means at the end of your turn, before the other players even really go on their turn, you're going to draw up to your hand limit. That's the last thing you do on your turn. You draw up to your hand limit, whatever that may be. Some cards increase your hand limit. But the point is, now you're going to have an extra card, so that means you're going to get to draw an extra card. And at the start of your next turn, then you're going to take the card that you stored, and you're going to get to put it back into your hand. So it doesn't really matter which one you're going to store because you're only doing it because it's going to allow you to draw an extra card into your hand. That is awesome. That is cool. I like that. So that's how that one works. Okay, so here we have Barricade, and it's a passive ability. After filling your hand, you may search your discard pile for up to 2 junk cards and place them into your hand. Well, that's cool. So after filling your hand, this is a passive ability. So this is something you can actually do at the end of your turn while you're increasing your hand limit. At the end of your turn, you're going to draw up to your hand limit, right? If this is drawn up to your hand limit, or if you already have it in your hand after you draw up to your hand limit, you may search your discard pile for up to 2 junk cards and place them into your hand. So now you'll have more cards in your hand at the end of your turn. That is cool. That's Barricade. That is cool. Okay, this one I think is even cooler. Wheelbarrow here. Draw a card from your deck and store it. Okay, I like that. But at the start of your next turn, throw away the stored card or place it into your hand. So this is awesome. You can draw a card from your deck and then you store it. So let's say you store a junk card. Well, at the start of your next turn, you can throw away that stored card. So if it was a junk card, you can throw it away. Or maybe the card you drew from your deck was a good card because you're not getting to search your deck. You're just drawing the top card from your deck, which could be anything. So if it's a junk card, you get to throw it away on your next turn, which is cool because you're just storing it for now. But if it's a good card, hey, you get to place it into your hand. You can do that too. So that's awesome. This is awesome. Wheelbarrow, I like that one even more than the last two. Oh, that is cool. Okay, so the next one is vigilance. This is another technique with the plus on it, so you can use another action, just like with the wheelbarrow. You can use another action with it afterwards. So search your deck for a card and store it. So now you're searching your deck. So with this card, you're going to search your deck for a card, and then you're going to store it. Then you're going to shuffle your deck. At the start of your next turn, you'll place the store card into your hand. That is cool. So the vigilance is also very useful. It'll help you get a particular card much faster and get to use it much sooner. That is awesome. I like that one a lot too. Okay, Supply Depot. This one was probably the hardest one to understand out of all the cards thus far. Actually, all the cards in the entire Dale of Merchants 3. The hardest, but it's still not that bad as difficulty is. Store up to 2 cards from your hand. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. At the start of your next turn, you place the stored cards into your hand. I almost forgot about the whole doing this at the end of your turn anyways. This is awesome. This is actually even better than the merchant selling this stuff, because you're going to store up to 2 cards from your hand, okay? Then your turn is going to be over, and you're going to draw up to your hand limit once again. Then at the start of your next turn, you're going to place those stored cards into your hand, so the merchant only lets you do it with 1 card. This one's just like the merchant, except it's letting you do it with 2 cards. And at first, I was like, huh? What do I do with this again? But now I know better, because now I'm like, oh, that's right. It's gonna allow me to have extra cards. Because I was like, do I want to store 2 cards from my hand? Because now I'm going to have less cards to use, maybe to buy and purchase something with. So I'm like, I don't know if I like that, or understand why that's a good thing. But then I was like, oh, but it's going to increase the amount of cards for my next turn. I'm going to have even more than the merchant did for me. So that's really awesome. That's a really good card as well. Okay, and then we have Tactical Measurement. So this is a passive ability. You may draw 1 card from your deck and place it into your hand once in your turn. If you do so, place 1 card from your hand on top of your deck. So basically, you're just swapping out a card from your hand and the deck. So you take a card from your deck, and then you put a card from your hand back on top of your deck. Maybe the card you drew isn't something you want anyways, so you could just simply put it back, the same exact card, because if you do so, you'll get to place 1 card from your hand on top of your deck after the fact that you put it into your hand. So if it's a junk card, hey, no loss at all, because this is a passive ability anyways. You're not wasting an action doing this passive ability. So that is a pretty nice, interesting card too, Tactical Measurement. It could be very tactical for sure. So that's all of the cards for this merchant here, the Prepared Grizzled Tree Kangaroos. So who's next? Well, let's see.